Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling something that I think is probably pretty familiar to everyone listening.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Stress. But we're going way beyond just the everyday stuff.
Right.
We're diving deep into the science of stress, like how it actually works in your body, and even get this, how your beliefs can impact your health.
That's right.
We're going to uncover some really surprising things, like how what happened to you in childhood can shape how you deal with stress as an adult.
Yeah.
Oh, and the link between keeping your emotions all bottled up and certain diseases.
Ah,
And get this, we'll even talk about how believing you can handle anything and everything might actually be doing more harm than good. It's like a superpower that
yeah,
backfires.
that's a great way to put it. So many people think that stress is just this one thing.
Right,
Real.
like monster under the bed.
Exactly. But it's actually this multi-headed beast responding to any threat you can think of.
Okay, so let's start with the basics here. We all toss the word stress around, but what is it? Like scientifically.
So scientifically speaking, stress is your body's reaction to anything it sees as dangerous.
Like a bear chasing you.
Right, or a pop quiz when you haven't studied.
Oh, God, I hate those.
What's interesting is that your body doesn't really care what the threat is. It has a pretty similar response.
So like that feeling you get before a big presentation, the racing heart, sweaty palms, the whole shebang.
You got it.
That's the same response our ancestors had when they were facing a lion.
It all boils down to this system in your body. It's called the HPA axis.
HPA axis. Sounds kind of sci-fi.
It stands for hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands. It's basically your body's central command for stress.
Like mission control for freaking out.
When you sense danger, it kicks into gear.
Releasing hormones, what are they again?
Adrenaline and cortisol.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones.
They get you ready to either fight or run away.
So even though we're not dodging dinosaurs anymore,
Thankfully not.
our bodies still act as if every little stressor is a matter of life and death.
You got it.
I can see why that's not always a good thing. So it's not just about physical threats then.
Nope.
Our emotions get in on the action too.
Oh.
Right.
Absolutely. That's where the PNI system enters the picture, the psychoneuroimmunoendocrine system.
Whoa, that's a mouthful.
I know, right? It's a mouthful, but it basically shows how closely connected your mind, body, and immune system are.
Okay, so break it down for me. How do emotions play into all of this?
Okay, imagine you're totally stressed out about work.
Got a deadline breathing down my neck.
Yeah, or maybe you're dealing with someone who's just impossible. Those feelings of pressure, uncertainty, lack of control, those are emotional stressors.
So basically, my brain can trigger the same stress response as if I was running from a tiger just by worrying about work.
Pretty much.
That's both amazing and kind of terrifying. So if emotions can trigger a physical stress response,
Right.
what about the stuff that happened to us early on?
Ah, you're talking about childhood.
Yeah. Do those experiences affect how we deal with stress as grown-ups?
They really do. Our early childhood experiences are like the architects of our brains, especially the parts that handle emotions and stress.
So if someone had a rough childhood,
It means they might have a harder time with stress as an adult.
that makes sense.
One study looked at Romanian orphans who grew up in institutions. They got their basic needs met, but lacked that nurturing touch and emotional connection.
It's so sad.
Yeah. And later on, they had problems with their HPA axis and weird cortisol levels.
Really? Wow.
It made them more likely to have health issues as adults.
Man, that just shows how important those early years are for developing healthy ways to cope with stress.
Totally. Those early experiences are like the blueprints for how our brains respond to stress throughout our lives.
That makes me think about my own kids. I really want to make sure they have a good foundation.
It's a great thing to be mindful of. And it's not just physical health either. These patterns can also show up in our relationships.
So, how we interact with others.
Exactly. We might unconsciously repeat unhealthy dynamics from our past, and that just keeps the cycle of stress going.
So basically, we carry these patterns around like invisible baggage,
Mm.
even if we're not really aware of them.
You got it.
That's pretty deep. So what about people who just bottle up their emotions?
Oh, that's a recipe for trouble.
Like stuffing things down or pretending everything's fine.
It's like a pressure cooker waiting to explode.
It can actually make you sick.
It can. The research suggests that chronic emotional suppression, especially of anger, can lead to chronic stress, and that weakens your immune system. It can even play a role in autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis.
Like your body's screaming at you to pay attention.
Exactly, and you're just hitting the mute button.
There's this case in one of our sources about a woman named Natalie who developed MS after years of just swallowing her emotions while she was taking care of her sick husband. It's like her body was finally safe enough to fall apart.
That's a really powerful observation, and it's something researchers have seen in other patients, too.
Wow, this is heavy stuff. So if we're hauling all this baggage around, the ingrained patterns, the pent-up emotions, what can we do about it? Is there any way to, like, hit the reset button?
There is. The source material talks about this roadmap for healing. They call it the 7 A's.
7 A's? Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's all about learning to understand and manage your emotions instead of letting them run the show.
So instead of just burying stuff deep down, we need to learn how to process and express our emotions in a healthy way.
Exactly. It's like building a toolkit for handling all the curveballs life throws at you.
I am so ready to unpack these 7 A's. But I think we need to give our listeners a minute to process all this amazing information.
Definitely. We've covered a lot of ground.
We'll be back in the next part of our deep dive to really explore these 7 A's in detail.
Until then, think about this. How do you usually react to stress? Do you fight, do you flee, or do you just freeze up?
We'll pick up right there when we come back. Welcome back to our deep dive into the science of stress. Before the break, we were talking about how those early experiences we have and even the emotions we bottle up can have this lasting impact on our well-being.
It's true, it's a lot to think about. But luckily, the research we're looking at actually offers some guidance on how to heal.
Okay, I'm all ears.
It's called the 7 A's.
7 A's. Okay, I remember you mentioning this earlier. So it's like a framework.
Yeah, exactly. It's a framework for understanding and managing stress, a way to take control of your health.
Awesome. So let's break down these 7 A's. Where do we even begin?
The first A is awareness.
Awareness. Okay,
Yeah.
so what does that actually look like, practically speaking?
It's all about tuning into what's going on inside you, your thoughts, your feelings, your body sensations.
So like noticing if my stomach is in knots or if my shoulders are tense.
You got it. Paying attention to those early warning signs instead of ignoring them until you completely lose it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the more aware I am of what's happening inside, the better I can handle my stress.
Exactly. Now, once we're aware of those signals, what's next?
Okay, let's see. Acceptance.
You got it, acceptance.
This one feels a bit tougher. Does accepting stress mean I have to like it? Or just resign myself to living with it forever?
No, not at all. Acceptance is about acknowledging those thoughts and feelings without judging them, even the not-so-fun ones.
So it's okay to feel stressed, anxious, angry sometimes.
It really is. Those feelings are just part of being human.
It's not about pretending everything is perfect.
Right.
It's more about acknowledging how you're actually feeling.
You hit the nail on the head. Fighting or suppressing your emotions only adds more stress.
Acceptance is about making peace with what's going on inside.
Exactly. Creating space for those feelings without letting them control you.
That's really helpful. It's like taking away the power of those negative emotions by just letting them be there.
You got it. Okay, let's move on to the third A, anger.
Anger. Okay, this one always feels a little complicated. How can anger possibly be part of healing?
Anger gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's a powerful emotion. It can actually drive positive change. When you're angry, it means something you care about has been violated.
So it's a signal that something needs to change.
Exactly. The key is learning how to express that anger constructively, not bottling it up or letting it explode in unhealthy ways.
Right, so it's about channeling that energy into something positive.
Exactly. Anger can give you the motivation to set boundaries, assert your needs, and make changes that improve your life.
That really makes sense. So what about autonomy? Where does that fit in?
Autonomy is about recognizing that you have choices. You have the power to make decisions in your life. You're not just a victim of circumstances.
So it's about empowerment.
Yes, it's about moving away from people-pleasing and learning to say no when you need to, making choices that align with your values even if not everyone agrees with them.
You know, I think a lot of people really struggle with that, especially those of us who are always putting others' needs before our own.
It's definitely a skill you have to practice. But the more you assert your autonomy, the more empowered you'll feel. And that feeling of empowerment is so important for handling stress.
That makes sense. Okay, so we can't talk about stress without talking about relationships, right? So where does attachment fit into the 7 A's?
Attachment is all about the importance of healthy, supportive relationships. We humans are social creatures. We crave connection. Feeling loved and supported by others helps us thrive, and it makes us more resilient when we're stressed.
It's like having a safety net for when things get tough.
Exactly. When we have those strong social connections, we can cope better with tough situations. We've got people to turn to for support advice or just a listening ear.
So nurturing those connections is a big part of managing stress.
It really is. And it's not just about the number of people you know, it's about the quality of those relationships. It's about surrounding yourself with people who lift you up, support you, and make you feel safe and loved.
Okay, so we've got attachment. Now what about assertion?
Assertion is like the flip side of attachment. It's about being able to communicate your needs and boundaries clearly and respectfully.
So it's about saying no without feeling guilty.
Exactly. And asking for what you need without being afraid of rejection.
It's like finding that sweet spot between being assertive and being considerate of other people.
You nailed it. It's about advocating for yourself while also respecting the needs of those around you. And it's a crucial skill for building healthy, balanced relationships, which, as we've discussed, are so essential for managing stress.
This is all starting to come together now. Okay, so we've covered 6 of the 7 A's. What's the final one?
The final A is appreciation.
Appreciation. That sounds nice. Tell me more.
Appreciation is about finding things to be grateful for in your life, even when things are challenging. It's about shifting your focus to the positive noticing and savoring those moments of joy, beauty, and connection.
It's like counting your blessings, both big and small.
You got it. When you focus on the good, it changes your perspective, reduces stress, and even lifts your mood.
It's like hitting the reset button on your emotions.
Exactly. And the best part is appreciation is a skill you can actually develop with practice. The more you look for things to be grateful for, the more you'll find.
Wow. These 7 A's are like a roadmap to a happier, less stressful life. But it's more than just managing stress, right? It's about taking control of your whole emotional well-being.
Exactly. The 7 A's are a powerful tool for building emotional intelligence, resilience, and ultimately a deeper sense of peace and well-being.
This is awesome stuff. I think this is a good spot to take a breath and let our listeners digest these 7 A's. We'll be back in the last part of our deep dive to explore how this all connects to a fascinating concept, the power of belief.
Until then, I encourage you to think about which of these A's really resonates with you. Is there one you want to focus on developing in your own life?
Welcome back to our deep dive into the science of stress. We've covered so much ground already. How stress works in the body, the impact of those early childhood experiences, the risks of keeping emotions bottled up, and even that practical framework for healing, the 7 A's.
Right.
But before we wrap up, I really want to dig into this one last concept that I find fascinating, the power of belief.
It's amazing how our beliefs can actually have a real physical impact on our health.
I know it sounds kind of out there.
Right. The research we're looking at highlights the work of this molecular biologist, Bruce Lipton. And he challenges the traditional thinking about how our cells work.
Okay, I'm all ears. What does Lipton say?
So he suggests that the control center of a cell isn't actually the nucleus like we used to think.
Really?
Yeah, instead he says it's the cell membrane.
Interesting.
And the membrane acts like the brain of the cell. It's constantly receiving and responding to signals from its environment.
Okay.
But here's the really interesting part. Those signals also include our thoughts and beliefs.
Whoa, hold on. You're telling me that what I believe can actually change what happens at a cellular level?
That's what Lipton's research suggests.
Yeah.
Our beliefs are like filters that shape how we see the world. And those filters impact how our cells respond. The research gives this example of a guy named Don who really believed that he could handle anything life threw at him.
That sounds like a good thing, right? What's wrong with believing you can handle anything?
Well, on the surface, it seems positive, but this belief actually caused Don to constantly overwork and suppress his emotions.
Oh, I see.
And Lipton suggests that this pattern of chronic stress fueled by Don's belief could have contributed to him developing colon cancer.
Wow, that's pretty sobering. Makes you really think about your own beliefs and how they might be affecting your health.
It does. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about being aware of the deeper beliefs that are driving our actions and how those beliefs might be stressing us out without us even realizing it.
So if our beliefs can make us sick, can they also help us heal?
You know, it's not quite that simple,
Right.
but we are learning that our thoughts and beliefs have this incredible power over our biology. They influence our immune system, hormone levels, even gene expression.
So while we can't just magically think ourselves healthy, our mindset is still a crucial part of healing.
Absolutely. And that's where those 7 A's we talked about come back into play. Cultivating awareness, acceptance, anger, autonomy, attachment, assertion, and appreciation, all of these things create the right environment inside us to support healing.
Yeah, it's like we're giving our bodies the best possible chance to do what they're designed to do, heal and thrive.
Exactly. We're clearing out the obstacles, the stress, the negative beliefs, the emotional baggage, all the things that get in the way of healing.
This brings to mind a concept that's always fascinated me: spontaneous remission. You know those cases where people recover from really serious illnesses and doctors can't explain why? Is there a connection to what we're talking about here?
There very well could be. We don't fully understand all the pieces of the puzzle when it comes to spontaneous remission,
Right.
but there's growing evidence that the mind plays a pretty big role. It's not magic, it's more about the power of belief, a positive mindset.
So we all have this potential for healing within us.
We do. It's not about pretending that illness doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that we have more power than we think. We can make choices that support our well-being, both physically and emotionally.
This has been an incredible conversation. I've learned so much. I feel empowered to take control of my health and well-being.
I'm glad to hear that.
So as we wrap up, what are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest one is that stress isn't just a physical thing. It involves your mind and your emotions too. Also, your early experiences, especially in childhood, really shape how you respond to stress. And most importantly, you have the power to heal and to thrive. It starts with becoming aware of your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, and then making choices that support your well-being.
Those are great takeaways.
Hmm.
And before we go, I'd like to leave our listeners with one last thought. Think back to a time when your body might have been trying to tell you something. Did you listen?
Maybe it was an ache or pain you ignored, or a feeling of anxiety that just wouldn't go away. What was your body trying to say?
And knowing what you know now, what could you do differently?
Remember, your body is wise. It's constantly talking to you. The key is to pay attention to the whispers and take action to support its natural ability to heal.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into stress science. We hope you found it informative and inspiring.
It's been a pleasure.
And remember, you have more power than you think. You have the power to heal, to grow, and to create a life that is truly vibrant and joyful. Until next time, take care.